Hello, everybody. What's all the fuss about a voice? I mean, we're talking about the power of the voice, and we've been talking about it for 2 weeks now. And hey, by the way, sorry about last week. It was something that we couldn't do anything about. We really tried our best, but I guess just get being kicked out by the networks we have, and then we work with what we have until we have something better. So, back again to our question: what's all the fuss about a voice? Well, nothing you may say unless, like today, you wake up and like me, you find out that like a quarter of your voice is gone. I mean, I have a bug or something, so my voice is gone generally, but it's good enough for us to talk. Hey, I said hi. Good to see you. Good to see you. So the voice is really particularly interesting, of interest to us in Julia Jack's Consulting, because one of the things we do on Unplugged, which is our flagship program, is to amplify the voices of the micro, small, medium enterprises and brands who are doing great things, but they're doing them silently. So we bring their voices, we amplify their voices to you, to the world out there. And the voice is, in my opinion, the critical pathway to help people make connections, to create more understanding, to communicate, and to express who we are. So without a voice, who are we? And the voice is not just what we speak with, because you know that you can have your voice can come through in your writing, in your work, and also in the things that you do. So, to discuss the power of the voice today, not just the power of the voice, other things, knowing that this is my real good friend and we go a whole long way back. And he used to be my one time copy group head, but today he's a voice talent, he's a voice actor, and he's many things in between. Is Jimi Bankole, very lovingly known by those of us who know him well as Jimmy Banks. So join me as I welcome, if you will, my good friend and now your new best friend, Jimmy Bankole. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, Julia. You know
Yeah.
what? You got my face all I'm so dark, yet I'm blushing inside. How about that? So I'm so happy to be here. This is nothing but an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much, Julia. Yeah.
And
Great.
thank you for being up at 3 a.m. where you are. I mean, you're joining us from Arizona, and that's amazing. Thank you so much. You know, let's see if we can get on Instagram. Okay. So
Okay.
just wait until I send you the invite.
Sounds good. All right. Should I click on the invite now?
Yes, 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 you can.
So it says invited. All right. Joining live.
Yeah.
Joining this live stream will end your current live. Is that what I need to do?
Just click it and let's see.
Now it says join room.
Yeah,
Click.
I'm waiting to see you.
Should I click join room? Yeah.
Yes, join. There you are. That
Hello
was
there.
easy. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Staples.
Now, yeah, but now you're sideways. I'm looking at
Oh my
your.
God. That's not right.
There you go. Yeah, that's where we want you.
All right. We'll make hey, we're gonna be all right.
Hey, TH. Hi. Hi, TH has joined. And oh, yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So, when our paths first crossed, Jimmy Banks was expressing himself and his voice as a copywriter. And he was a real good copywriter, I can tell you. I mean, he's one of the greats. He was my copy group head. And Jimmy Banks never let you get away with sloppy copy or lazy thinking. He never let you get away with that. I mean, if I think out of the box today, it's because Jimmy Banks, to a large extent, did not understand that there were boxes in life. You know, as far as it was concerned, there were no boxes in life. So let's just do what we have to do. And he was very dramatic. So Jimmy, personally, I'm not surprised where you are today. You know, because your drama was great. I remember when you'd make us read a copy, especially a radio and TV copy. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to do this. you know.
Hey, but it was fun, wasn't it? You know, the only way to know if you've actually done the right thing is to sort of try to live it. And that's part of what we're talking about here. You know, those are the characters, getting into the character which you've already
Character.
come up with. You know, my dear Julia, you come up with all those funny baby stuff you write. And then, you know, if you write like a baby, then let me see how the baby will talk.
Well, I can tell you if any baby spoke in my presence, I would disappear. I would disappear.
Hey,
You
that was
know.
just a reference to,
I,
Vaseline
yeah,
TV
Vaseline.
commercial you
Yeah.
wrote. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Good days. Good days. But here
Mm-hmm.
we're still here and we're still enjoying ourselves. So that's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So on your professional page, the Voice Bank, and that's true, guys. Jimmy Banks can be found at the Voice Bank. We're going to put down his details here. He writes, and I quote, creativity is a ball of wax from copy to sound waves. So, Jimmy, what exactly are the elements in this ball of wax called creativity?
Awesome. You know, unfortunately, I've been away from the country for a while, so a few of my references will probably be a little bit more American than Nigerian. But notwithstanding, I do know that a lot of us in Nigeria still have such a very strong connection with staying in tune with the Western world.
Mm,
Okay, so one of the benefits I've had, Julia, is the fact that I worked in advertising. Working in advertising, having worked in advertising, I'm able, particularly, the creative aspect of it, come with up with concepts and all that, because where you need voices or you need voice talents or voice actors is nowhere else but mainly in commercials, narrations. I was going to give you a whole slew of the things where you need voices for. But getting back to your point of what makes it all a ball of wax, because it starts with the copy, doesn't it? That's where we all write, you and I. We all sit down there and come up with the ideas. Only, okay, if babies could talk, man, that's pretty good. I'll write that. If babies could talk, they'll ask for the best. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And then you trap it. So what have you done? You have actually captured a beautiful line, but you have also ensured that the line encompasses the brand, which is what we are all about. You know, if anybody manufactures a product that is so good enough for babies to endorse it, then we can assume that those people are really, really smart because babies are innocent. That's the whole essence there. All they
mhm.
want to know is either good or bad. But they know if they say it's good, then check mark. So, yeah, so what I'm getting at is there's a whole slew of the background you and I are used to, which we have to come up with, the good old client service department, all that stuff. Yeah. The brand strategy, the USP, the
Yeah.
VSP, all that good stuff. All right. That is the ball of wax right there. Then you add another ball of wax, which is finding the right guy. Now you need the right voice. You and I talked recently about CNN back in the days. When you said it, I couldn't even remember that at some point, what's his name?
James L.
Many, many
Jones.
James L.
Yeah.
Jones was
Yeah.
the voice of. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he
That's
was the
him.
voice. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know. And when you think about it, an example that comes to my mind is good old Chris Hart. Short Chris like me. Chris Hart. And
Okay, okay. Kevin
Kevin.
Hart.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
that was Chris Tucker. All right, so
yeah.
Kevin Hart. So Kevin Hart now is the voice for Chase credit card.
Oh,
You
really?
can't you can't even understand Kevin when he talks. He talks so
So
fast,
fast. Yeah, that's true.
But again, that's the branding. That's what it's Kevin, and Kevin is funny. He's hilarious, and that's just it. So you find that character and you represent him. So it's not as if Kevin is a voiceover professional. Far from it. But he's getting paid the big bucks because it's Kevin Hart and he speaks like that. And that's the image Chase credit card wants. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So
We're all getting there.
the ball of wax is really, to me, the all the hard work you have to do behind the scenes to
Oh
present
yeah.
this thing that looks good. Okay.
I haven't even gotten into the studio, which is another ball game. Now you're gonna have a producer, you're gonna have a director, somebody's gonna be telling you what to do, and that's where all the training comes in. The voiceover training. In Nigeria, we think about voiceover as just the voice of, my friend Femi Showolu or Bola Wala Makinde. No, it is the voice of the character you're projecting, you know, and then that's where it becomes an act, the drama, voice act,
Uh-huh.
you
Okay.
know. Nobody sees you. You're not on any image, but your voice must convey the entire message and the strength and the brand of the product or service you're selling.
Okay, now let me reference something else. Oh my goodness, I think it's Lion King.
Oh
Lion
yeah,
King. I don't know if you watched it. Yeah,
oh yeah,
not the stage play, the
the movie.
animation. Yeah, the
Oh
movie.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
At the
Disney.
very first one. Yeah, Disney. Yeah, the very first one that they had, and they had I can't remember, but they had so many actors I didn't know. But you know who I loved most? I loved Mufasa. I was
Okay,
fascinated by
okay,
Mufasa,
okay, okay.
because it just sounded so evil and sinister, menacing. And that is that the kind of thing that you're talking about. Like you don't just show up as Jimmy Banks on a good day to sound like Jimmy Banks, but you show up as this character. That's a whole ball of wax. Is
Yeah,
that what you
yeah,
mean?
yeah. You,
Okay,
you have to share
okay,
your truth.
okay.
You see, we live, just say voice artists or voice actors live in the ring of truth. That's a very popular axiom in the industry. And when they say that, you have to share that truth. The guy who did Mustafa, I'm not sure if it was Eddie Murphy. I'm not sure, but I can
I
check
can't
that out
remember.
and I'll shoot it to you. But you see, Mustafa was yeah, you're right. He was a very mean and evil and conniving character.
Exactly.
So that conniving character of him has to be represented, even if he says hi.
There you
Did
go.
you did you hear it? Did you hear
I,
the
I did.
hi?
I did. I
So
did.
it's got to be scary. But if it's a younger person, like a happy person like Jimmy Banks, he'll probably say hi, and then you
Yeah.
know that, hey, wait a minute, this is a happy person. So the characterization, getting into character, you can only get there through the script analysis. And that's where I start loving voice acting because that's really up my alley. Okay. I write the script and I analyze it. So when you script it, then you analyze it, you are now able to tell people, okay, wait a minute. Um, let's assume, hey Jimmy, who's your character? Oh, I am Jimbo. Oh, you're Jimbo? Jimbo what? Um, I am Jimbo the elephant. Oh, Jimbo the elephant. Are you male or female? I am male, but
Okay.
I'm young. So you see how my voice is changing?
Yeah.
How young are you? Do you have any situation? Is your tone high or low? Of course, my tone is high. I'm young. So you're now able to play with the
With
nuances of your
the
age. What's your
modulations.
tempo? Do you talk fast? Oh, yes, I'm a very young elephant. And my mommy says I eat too much, but that's okay with me. I'm fine so long as I can eat. Okay? So you start to see the tempo. How does it flow? What's the rhythm? Boom, boom. Or is it boom, 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 boom? My mommy told me that I have to be good. Or is it, if it's old, for instance, I am an old elephant and I have seen a lot. Do you think the line elephants have the greatest memories ordinary? So you now take people round.
Wow.
The characterization is so key. And that's why they say we're schizophrenic. I am schizophrenic now, I promise you. I mean, I got so many characters. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Julia.
I'm just not going to get into that place, But I think it's utterly fascinating what you talked about. Well, two things you mentioned: the ring of truth and the script analysis. So it's not just show up as yourself. You show up as yourself, the brand Jimmy Banks, but there's a reason why somebody wants the brand Jimmy Banks as a voice actor because he can go there with the character. He doesn't
Yeah,
just show up as himself. He shows up as who you want him to be.
yeah,
Hmm,
yeah. I mean, it's
okay.
characterization and script analysis and characterization are so key. Because if you don't do that, you're just shooting in the wind. You really don't know. You're probably even clueless, to be honest, because if you, it's like just being dropped on the desert. I mean, yes, sorry, in the desert, without any plan. And here I am giving that analogy, and I'm living in the desert, and I'm saying to myself, okay,
You
what
are, aren't you?
so what do I do with that? The truth about that is basically when you're in the desert, you need to find an oasis, right? So that in
Yeah.
itself is a plan. And that puts you in the mood for it. You're fatigued now. So you're moving. Because when they do this, when Procter and Gamble gives you a script and they say they want you to be authoritative, for instance, you know
Mhm.
the reason they're asking you, they want the script, your voice to be authoritative, is because they want to brand themselves as being the boss, the masters, the number one choice. They want to make sure they do that in the minds of the people, so they give you that benefit. Now you've got to say, all right, Procter and Gamble, where only the best is provided. Now that's just a line I picked from the air, but the point I'm trying to make is, can you change your voice? But I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you one thing, and this is
Mhm.
so important. I don't know if you have a question on trends, because did we talk about AI, or was that earlier?
That was earlier, but let's go there. Let's talk about trends. Let's talk about
Yeah.
trends in your industry. Yes,
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
because I,
So,
but
so
yeah,
trends to me will be like, Julia, it's no longer a case of your diction in the American voiceover industry. And I dare say in the entire world. It's becoming global. When they say they want to talk to you, when they say they want to hear your voice,
mm,
most of the directors and producers now, once you get into that booth, the first thing they're saying is, can we have that like the next door neighbor, please? Friendly next door neighbor. They don't want you. They don't want you to put on
what,
an
what,
air. So now
but
that's
what if
tough.
what if I don't have a friendly next door neighbor?
Then you ain't gonna get the check. They just gonna say, thank you very much, Jimmy. Next, you know, because you have to go through this audition, right?
Oh
Now,
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. You have to audition as well.
oh yeah, oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I mean, you have to
okay.
first every morning, like about somewhere about 10 o'clock. Wherever I am in the world, I am checking my phone for auditions.
Okay.
Then when I come back home, because I try to, work about 1 or 2 days ahead, I get into my little home studio over there and I knock it out. I knock out takes upon takes upon takes. I play it back, knock it out, play it back. Do all the things we've talked about. Read the specs, read all that slew and the wax, and then make sure that I actually get into the character. I might even have to read some of my references because I've been fortunate enough to have some of the best coaches around in the US. And what they do is, they actually take you there. These guys, you think that they're making enough money, but that's not how they roll. They actually still charge you. So it's like going to school where they teach you all these things I'm talking about, so that you realize that it's not just about reading the line with your best voice, which is what we tend to do. The trend now is, can you be conversational like you and I are talking right now? That's what most of these big brands want. Be conversational because they're talking to the masses, the influencers, the decision makers, and they're just people like you and I. So if you come there talking like a professor when indeed when you're just supposed to be a husband, that ain't gonna click. You're gonna hear next.
Okay. So what do you call it now? Being relatable is very important. That's what you
Highly,
say.
highly,
Being relatable is
highly,
very
highly
important.
relatable.
Okay.
Very important.
Okay. Okay. So now this is what I one of the questions I wanted to ask is okay, like 2 weeks ago we had a guest and she's a singer because we're looking at different iterations of the voice and the power of the voice. And she sings, and she talked about the importance of tone, texture, and inflection in in that context, in the singing context. Well, is this something that you also have to deal with as a voice actor? Tone,
Yeah,
texture, inflection, the power of the pause, all those
yeah,
things.
absolutely, absolutely. There's something called the intensity of silence. The intensity of silence. That's when
I
you're doing
like
your
that.
voice. You know, you might just, if I keep quiet and I say something like, "I'm sorry you made that decision, but now
Mm-hmm,
you've lost a friend." Did you hear that whole pause in between there?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm sorry you made that decision, but now you've lost a friend. It makes you know that, geez, this is very intense. Emotions are involved here. And she's right. She's right about the inflections. Remember earlier on when I was talking about how fast is the elephant talking?
Yeah.
Is tone high or low? Those are all inflections. Now, the crazy thing about it, though, is all those inflections still have to be expressed in a conversational voice. So that's where the acting comes in. And that's where it becomes very, very, it's not a joke. That's why some guys are just one pony shows. All they
Mm-hmm.
can do is just read like a newscaster. We're not casting the news. We're living like people when it comes to voice acting. We're Julia, we're Jimmy, we're UC, we're everybody, you know.
So this has actually evolved from being, let's say, from reading the news. The industry has evolved. That's what it means.
I wouldn't say it evolved from reading the news. I'll say the news is to be respected as an aspect of the industry in its own class. This has evolved from its own sense. It evolved like the whole process of entertainment. There's an
Aha.
element of
So from entertainment.
entertainment
Okay.
and information. You know what I mean? So
Mhm,
when
mhm.
and all those are things that you and I learned in advertising. You got to entertain, you got to inform, you got to tell the truth, and then you mix it all up, and then you convey it. So that's the fun. The fun is, how well do you convey that? If you're drunk, are you all stupid drunk and you're falling all over the place? That might be exaggerated when you're trying to express that with your voice. So your director, if I was directing that situation where a guy's drunk, I'll say more over it, more over it. Let me have it slow, but drunk.
And
Lower your
slurred.
voice. Yes,
Slow and
Lord.
slurred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lower the tone of your voice and let me come across with you normally. I want to hear you normally, Julia. Normally. And then you say, normally? I can't be normal when I'm drunk. Oh, guess what it's just trying to tell me is that I just dropped my keys. Maybe he's right on that. So now you're beginning to sound a little bit tipsy. And sometimes that's all you need because that naturalness is so key in this whole business of voice acting. Now, AI, you mentioned something about AI. You want me to talk about AI?
Not yet. We have a question here from a saying. Let me show that. Says, do you have to do breathing exercises and music scales or scales in voice acting?
Wow, you seeing how you doing? Nice to have you here. Nice to see you, my friend. Okay, listen, I'm going to show you something. See this thing right here?
Mm-hmm.
You see the green end? You
Mm-hmm.
see the red end?
Mm-hmm.
This is a straw. It's an is a voice straw. So I can say something like you can figure that out. But what I said is it's a pleasure to be here. I'm so happy
Okay.
to be here. So what I do is I keep doing that. And guess what? By the time I start talking, you can hear me clearly. Yes, you have to do breathing exercises. Yes, you have to drink a whole bunch of water. I've started hydrating. I started hydrating this morning. See,
Mm.
hello, I already finished one bottle. Because there you go. When you hydrate, not only is it good for your health, my friends, it is also good for your voice. Because everybody can hear you. So, Asian,
Yeah.
you are 100% correct. Skills, voice exercises, sometimes diet. I've heard also things about it. Some people will tell you, hey, listen, when I drink some scotch, my voice comes across real good for what I want to do. Excellent. Maybe you have a raspy voice. Maybe your voice is a little bit husky. And then when you drink the scotch, maybe whatever works for you. Some people tell you, oh, when I get high a little bit, boy, it's just excellent. Or some people say, I can't do any of that. I won't even be able to read. I got to be in my element. There you go. So whatever really works best for you is what matters. AI, we don't like AI because AI is a threat to all our
Why is this a threat? Why is it a threat?
because you can buy an app the way it's getting to. If you're a big
Mm.
company like Procter and Gamble, you can buy not just an app. You can set up a studio on premises on campus and have all the technology in the studio, a la bio, and have people come in and just not people and have people who can manipulate, you know,
Mhm.
and just manipulate voices. They can manipulate my voice easily. But this is where we know they're losing the battle. No matter how great their voices sound, they're not human. They're not human. Only the human voice can convey the intensity we're talking about, the emotions. There's another line I really would like to share with you. It says something
Okay.
like, words. This is from Dave Finoy, I think. Words are mere exhaust fumes of our emotions. Words are mere exhaust fumes of our emotions. So the unspoken emotions has to be established. If I'm sad, can it come across? And remember, you're not seeing me.
Yeah.
You're just hearing my voice. If I'm sad, can I come across I sat with a, right? That's also knowing nuances that you can introduce. It's an art, or maybe it's just a sub. Does that come across as somebody who's probably having a, a challenge thinking something through? Yes. And that's not even rehearsed. So those are all elements So AI, yeah, it's going to nibble away a little bit at the income stream of voice artists and voice actors, but it will not replace the real voice, the human voice. So, but it's a threat in the sense that even as it were today, I cannot tell you how many sessions I've been in where, just like Asian came up with a question, people asked, "What's going to happen with the AI thing?" AI is artificial intelligence, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, that's not good." And now the voice. Remember back in Insight when I used to make fun of Udeme with his name? I can't say the whole thing, but it's like, Udeme on off yuck, you wanna chuck, So it's kind of like AI is, and you got to be. Do you remember that? So you got to be careful.
I'm taking the fifth on this one.
You better take a seat. I don't mind. He can't do nothing to me. So yeah, that's what I mean there, and yeah.
Okay, I'm going to still push you a little bit on that because I think AI is getting better. I mean, I think about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I was actually not talking to Siri, hmm? And it probably will just pop up. I said something that sounded like Siri, right? And it popped up. It popped up on my phone. I think I was saying something in Epic, and it popped up on my phone. And then I said, "Oh, I wasn't talking to you." And he said, "That's not nice." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, Siri now has emotions." When did that happen? When did that happen? And I'm thinking that with every iteration of AI, it's getting more refined. It's getting closer to what we to the human voice. you know I know also that people who use their voice or their eyes or whatever to unlock or lock their phones, sometimes you have to be that nice and chirpy person all the time, otherwise your phone just says, "I don't recognize you." you know so these are some of the issues, but I think maybe you guys need to start thinking ahead, or the world needs to start thinking ahead to say, what happens? Do we work with AI? Because it's here and it's going to be cheaper.
Oh yeah, I do realize that. I mean, that's why I told you categorically that AI is nibbling away at the income stream of voice actors. And like I said, I cannot tell you how many sessions I've been in where the topic of AI kind of almost took over the entire discussion. But the truth about it is, AI, artificial intelligence, okay, yeah, Siri told you, "Oh, that's not nice."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, imagine if somebody said, "That's not nice." There's a little bit of a difference. One sounds very, very automated, and one sounds very, very human. That's not nice. That's not nice. That's not nice. It's very, very, fine.
It's
And
fine. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's a
fine.
fine detail. And if people can, you know, if people have the money to back it up, to use the real thing, I think people will still opt for the voice, for the human voice. I'm pretty sure about that. And there's a limitation to it anyway. Come on, man. I mean, can you have the AI do a National Geographic feature on the Serengeti? Heck no, it's not going to capture it. So we go find Lupita. We get Lupita Nyong'o over and say, hey, Lupita, can you kindly do the voiceover for this narration on the Serengeti? And therefore she does it. AI ain't going to come there and say, the moon glows very early in the morning and the sun sets as the lions come out. No, you need an African accent who will let that thing sail home and you feel at home. First thing the lion sees in the morning is the moon. But the moon quickly turns into the sun. And the lionesses go out to hunt. You know, when you do that, they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's true. But stupid AI is going to come here trying to read it perfectly. We don't want a perfect read. We want a human read.
Okay, we have some comments there, and okay, that's Jerry. Jerry said, "See cereal." Yes, Jerry, see Siri. I mean, he was scared. He was. I mean, I was like, "What else is it listening to?" Because I really wasn't. And I was speaking Efik, but it sounded like I mentioned its name, and yeah.
Yeah, what they do with their programming is when you object, it's programmed to hear some words like the F word or the S word. And when he hears those words, it's programmed to react and say things like, that's not good. Or if you say the F word with you, then Siri is going to take it personal. You see, what they're doing is trying to make it as human as possible to no avail. You know, it ain't going to work. That's not nice. That's not nice. If you know that's not nice, then mention my name. That's not nice, Jimmy. Then you'll freak me out.
Hey, Jimmy, they're coming for you. I just want you to know. Yeah, Chimeka, thanks for that comment. It says there'll always be a difference between AI and the human voice.
Check.
I pray we don't live to find out otherwise.
Check. Yeah, it does get scary. But one thing I assure you, my friends, is this. When the future comes, there's going to be a lot of AI. The future is already here. Okay. The AI, like I said, like you said, Siri, what's the other one? Alexa, all those, all those, AI voices, they're becoming more and more popular. We're gonna have more and more of them. Remember when we saw Minority Report?
Google Maps.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Way back, and the billboard on the street was actually talking to him because everything's now programmed. It's gonna get to that point. I get it. But by the same token, well, if it gets to that point when we're all good and done and gone, it's okay. But to be but to be honest, right now, I think that the human voice, you and I, we're too red-blooded and warm-blooded to live without ourselves. And I just want to seize this opportunity, because one thing I want people to understand is this. Props to all the voice talents, all the voice actors out there, all the writers, all the thinkers, all the artists, all the animators, everybody out there. Props to you all. I want you to have confidence in yourselves because we, believe it or not, we are responsible for civilization, man. We are the ones who actually invent things, who come up with ideas. They see us as an addendum. Meanwhile, we are the agenda. And that sometimes pees me off. So when people come to learn that, the arts is actually an essential part of life, I'll become a happier person, and I know the whole world will become a happier. I just have to say that because I had said to myself, if I'm going to talk to Julia today, I'm going to make sure I say that to all the creatives out there.
You know, I'll get to the comments Yasin just made, but I think it's something that I know instinctively. That mad props to all the creatives. No matter what people might say that you are the addendum, you know, but we know that we are the agenda. I mean, in thinking about how to have this conversation with you, I also thought about creativity because that's where we're coming from, and I looked at different definitions of creativity, and the one I really like is the ability to imagine or reimagine things in order to communicate an idea, an idea, yeah, or information, but whatever it is. And I also like the definition of a voice as an expression. How did they put it? An emblem of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, an emblem of who you are. And I think that really gets it to the when we get down to brass tacks. That's it. Your voice is who you are. I mean, President Obama, he could say something, and even with deep fake, and now I know you can fake something that sounds like President Obama, but President Obama's voice is so different from other people's voices, right? Okay, I'm not going to be showing. I'm not going to be showing my biases right now.
Uh, the point is, yeah, he's taught us. You see, that's another
Yeah.
thing. When you're going for characters, you have to realize that the mannerisms, right? If you know that President Obama taught us, then you have to put a little bit of stuttering in your speech pattern. The
Plus,
point, the
plus the
point.
black church preacher kind
Yeah,
of tone.
the
Yeah,
whole.
yeah.
Do you know recently? I think I was reading that yesterday. Viola Davis,
Mhm.
she acted Michelle Obama recently. I think might have streamed on one of those streaming channels, and everybody's now criticizing her for over pouting. I didn't even know Michelle pouted that much, but apparently she did. She had a way she made her face, when she's contemplative or something. So Viola
Okay.
picked that and highlighted it so that it becomes a key part of her characterization of Michelle. Now, that backfired with some people. It didn't backfire with me because I have tremendous respect for Viola Davis. It doesn't matter what they
Absolutely.
say. So the truth about it is you pick elements and then you highlight it. Another thing, if it was on camera, we know he likes doing this. He likes doing his
Hmm.
hand like that,
Yeah.
you know. And that's so what you do is sometimes you're off camera, but you're more than welcome to act the voice, or I wouldn't want to say read the words, to act the words with real action. If it's gonna help me to say that's a whole lot of nonsense, I could say that's a whole lot of nonsense. Then
Hmm.
he's is probably not in the script, but by hissing, I've intensified the message. So you have to look at the nuances a lot, and then they come to play. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Am I
Now,
moving
guys.
sideways on the camera? Is the camera askew, or are we
No, the
good?
camera is not askew. You're good.
All right, awesome.
You're moving a little bit all over the place, but Jimmy, you move all over the place. So what can I
Oh,
say?
that's what I do.
Hey, the surgeon. Good to see you. Good to see me back. I've been here since August, but good to see you. Hi, hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to ask you about being a vodcaster, what that is. But what I want to ask first, or tell everybody first, is listen, guys, go listen to. I'm sure most of you know the Desiderata. I'm going to write it here. Sure, with my epic intonation, you may not get it in one go. The Desiderata.
Yep.
Okay, Desiderata. by Max. You know what? I'm sure he doesn't know how to pronounce my name either. So
Yeah, I mean they can. Nobody call me. They call me Olu Jimi Bankole.
there you
Whatever,
there you go.
whatever.
Okay. Exactly. Whatever. Whatever. You know. So okay. I think there's something wrong with my internet. Let me see. Can you see me? Am I okay? Anyway, okay. So what's a vodcaster? Who is a vodcaster? What does a
All right,
vodcaster
but
do?
the term vodcasting is one of those new neologisms we're all talking about. Nobody knew what vodcasting was 10 years ago. I mean, podcasting is a generative from podcasting. Now, with podcasting, you just keep running your pie hole, you keep talking nonstop. With vodcasting, you show video. So there's
Aha.
more action, hence the V, okay, instead of the P. So it's vodcasting. And for some of us, I mean, you probably know this about me, and those who are very close to me know there's a storyteller in me. And for some of us, and me in particular, my whole goal is to be able to make my movie. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm working the scripts day and night, and I'm trying to ensure that it becomes something that will really benefit society. That doesn't
One
mean
minute.
that,
1 minute. 1 minute, Jimmy Banks. I need to something. Okay.
okay.
Let's see. I think this should be okay now. I think it will be okay.
Do
All
you
right.
think everything we
All right.
said has just been going nowhere?
No, I just couldn't write down the desiderator, so I was wondering what happened. But it had,
Okay.
yeah. Let me just see if that will go now. Oh yeah, fine. Okay, it's on now. It's back on. Okay.
Cool. Cool.
Yes. So broadcasting is like podcasting, but
Yeah.
on a
Except
visual.
that you have the element of video, you have the element of movement, you have the element of, textures and moods and all that come to play in your broadcasting. So what I did personally as Jimi Bankole is I used my writing skills as well as my filmmaking skills, which is actually my, ultimate destination is to make a movie. And I found a meeting point between that. And that worked for me. And I came up with a concept called a story, a voice. So what happens is I write the story. All the story is captured strictly from a Nigerian American perspective. I am not saying that I'm not gloating or anything. I'm a Nigerian American. Heck no. I will tell you that I'm a Nigerian first and foremost. But reality be told, I am also a Nigerian American. Now, there's a perspective, there's an angle for the Nigerian American that needs to be conveyed back home to Nigeria. The vodcasting is is the vehicle of choice for me to do that. So when I write my stories on my vodcast series, A Story of Voice, I'm writing it from a Nigerian American perspective. And particularly when you look at the Nigeria, let's look at the both environment, Nigeria and America. Do you know how many people are working in Biden's cabinets that are Nigerian in Biden's cabinet?
I don't know
Seven.
how many, but I know quite a few. Seven.
Seven. Seven, of which three of them are very, very prominent. Heck, we have to represent a country like that to the Nigerian at
Yeah, but they
home.
don't sound like me.
Well, they don't, but they are not going to be able to change their heritage no matter what. They'll still
True.
come from that. They'll still come from that country on the Atlantic coast,
Yeah.
and they're
True.
proud of their background too. I know one of them calls him, I won't even go there. But the truth about it is, yes, it's like my kids. My boys are as American as apple pie. But you know what? every now and again they'll say, Dad, tell us, what does that mean? They do ask questions because they're curious. They want to know their heritage. So that's the real reason. That's the more reason why we need a good representation, or a good conduit of reflecting that the Nigerian Americans experience here. Is rough times, is good times, is struggles. How real are they? You know, are they affecting his health? You know, and I'll tell you the honest truth. My podcast has a lot of reflections that are closely tied into people I know. That's what good writers and actors do. They always reflect one character or
Right.
the other. So that's a lot of people don't know acting is actually not acting. When I heard that from my film coach, I was bowled over. She said it blows her mind. Very smart lady. She said people don't know that acting is not acting. Acting is just being yourself. Acting is just being Julia. It's just being Jimmy. Just being yourself. And then what you bring to it is that truthfulness. You play fully. If you play fully, you'll be all right. And by play fully, you know what I mean. I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about two different words here. Play fully. Okay.
Fully.
And when you do that, you have fun with it. Before you know what's happening, you'll be hearing, you got the check, sir, which means you just got the job. So you have to keep that energy moving forward. Keep moving forward with the energy. Trust your voice. Share your voice. Share your truth. Play fully. Listen carefully. So all those things will all come in the mix and make you a better voice actor. And I know I jumped over from vodcast to that, but I think they're all in the mix. Am I right?
All in the mix. All in the mix.
There you go.
And
Everybody.
Jerry says, yeah, I agree. Acting is not acting. What's not in you can't be projected.
Fantastic. Go
Yeah.
Jerrykins.
Now that makes me think about two people who actually blow my mind. Well, apart from Viola Davis and How to Get Away with Murder, she blew my mind totally, totally from end
Yeah.
to end, from the beginning to the end. She
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Did you see
Although she
any
blew my mind first
fences?
with the nanny. No, I haven't watched Fences. I mean,
Oh,
I haven't watched Fences
highly
yet. I haven't watched
recommended.
Fences yet.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't watched it yet. But I first watched her in the nanny, and the nanny. I mean, it was like I read the book first, then I watched the movie. I'm like, whoa, who is this lady? Where did
Mm-hmm.
she come from? But she didn't just
Mm-hmm.
come from anywhere. She'd been honing her craft. Now
Mm-hmm.
I've forgotten what I wanted to ask you. My goodness.
Old people. Old people. Then you
Old
tell me
people
I'm
like
old.
you.
Yeah, right. I've been hanging out with old people too long. That's what's going on. I'm gonna give it right back to you, Julia. That's what you said. Hanging around old people.
That's a fact. That's a fact. You
No,
know.
it's okay. It's
So
okay. Hey, I'm proud, and I'm sure you are too.
I am. I am.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. It's no mean feat to have
It's
gotten
no
this
mean
far
feat.
in life.
Oh yeah.
Understanding and learning and knowing all these things, the knowledge we share with people, the encouragement. The number one thing another thing I love about creative people is the courage.
Oh yeah.
Besides the fact that it's a very noble line to toe in
Profession. Yeah.
life,
It is
it's the
absolutely
courage, to actually decide to do it. My film
the
coach always
courage to
tells
be
me,
vulnerable
exactly,
because
you know,
you have to put yourself out there.
there you go, show up. Just show up and enjoy the surprises, you know, show up and that's almost like my life philosophy, because I've come to see that a lot of things that happen to us, the only things we can do are the things we can control. Those we can't control, we just let it, we live with it and learn from it. Live and learn situations. You know what I mean?
True. True.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
it's on. We are like 6 minutes to the top of the hour, and one day soon we're gonna have They're going to have full programs with adverts in between. So watch out for that, you know. But I want to ask you about three more questions quickly, you know,
Okay. Okay.
three more questions. Blended voices with global flavors. That is one of the things you offer in the
Yeah.
voice bank.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Is the world ready? Is the world ready for global flavors? Because a lot of the time when we talk about global, we're putting anything that is not received pronunciation American English or the culture in one, let me use your phrase, one ball of wax, right?
yeah.
So we have, what's it called now? We have, maybe we have the Chinese, we have the Japanese, we have the, it's like world music, where they call it world music. And you see our guys, you have a burner boy who is up against some guys from Korea and everything. I mean, what does global really mean? Does it mean that
Well,
they want to hear a Nigerian voice, or they want to hear a nice voice that has the tinge of um, Africanness? Because we're all one country in
oh yeah.
Africa. Oh yeah.
Listen, the truth about it is this: global means being understandable. We want to understand what you're saying, so that people can say, okay, yeah, she just said give, give, and not get. That's what we mean by communicating globally, so that people can understand you, whether you're, like you said, China, Argentina, wherever. People can understand you clearly. That is the global flavor in me. Now,
Mm,
the blended is the fact that, and I'm saying this with all humility,
mm,
the way I talk, my accent is kind of a confused accent. It's, I don't know whether it's the few couple of years I spent born in England, or the few couple of months I lived there, or whatever it is, but there's a little bit of that which I get, especially since I got to America, that tells me, oh, we hear some British, but we hear a lot of African too. Then I say, oh yeah, definitely. You want to know? This is why. This is why. And of course, America has always been somebody's. We all know America. So America, the truth about America is, you do need some of their, it's not an act, but after you stayed here for a while, before you know what's happening, you might pick up some American slangs, or some American intonations, or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's just, so that's what blends it. You have some
okay.
British here, you have some Nigerian African there. You can I can even do some Indian accent for you if you want me to. So you kind of
So
mix
can I.
everything.
So can I.
It's okay. We can all do that. So you kind of mix it up. But I'm telling you, we laugh now. What I tell you is hard work getting into these characters, man. Because there are a million of you out there being like that. So you have to be distinctive. And that's where I had to carve my niche. I knew the second I decided, when I retired from my main job, and I said, okay, I'm going to take this voice acting seriously. I said, the first thing I got to do is make sure I take this seriously to the extent that people can know that I am who I am. And I have to have a signature voice. By no means am I super successful or anything, but I can tell you I am successful in the sense that I can see my signature voice going places, because people are going to say, wait a minute, there's something about his voice. It's not, I'm not a Dan LaFontaine or a James L. Jones. You know Dan LaFontaine? That's the oracle in voice acting. He was the guy, he was a trailer expert. He did everything. Trailers are what you hear in the movies. Like, his
Yeah.
popular line was, in a world. He would say, in a world where everything is, something like that. That was Dan LaFontaine's
Okay.
signature. James
Okay.
L. Jones, on the other hand, I can't remember. But the truth about it is, you blend my my SMP, single-minded proposition, is that my voices are blended with various accents or whatever you want to call it. And then it has this global flavor because it's going to be accepted everywhere. That's the plan.
Okay. Last question,
Yes.
because we're at the top of our hour.
Yes,
Okay,
we are.
so give me 3 imperatives for somebody starting new in this industry. 3 imperatives of building a brand as a voice actor.
Wow.
Quickly, Jimmy.
Yeah. Share your truth. Share your truth. Share your
Yeah.
truth. Trust your voice. And play fully. I think that should do it.
Play fully.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, get an agent too, right?
Oh, definitely. 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 When you start, you see, it gets to a point where you won't have a choice but to get an agent, But when you start off gradually, you don't want to be paying SAG-AFTRA all that, premium. At the right time, SAG-AFTRA will say, "Hey, come on, man, we gotta have you."
Okay. Now, SMP is single-minded proposition, right? Or
Yes.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think we used to call it, when you used to get on my case, I used to call it simple-minded proposition.
Yeah. Hey, that was my Bible, man. I just up to today it still blows my mind how so many people still don't get it. It really hurts, but it's okay. It'll happen.
So share your truth, trust your voice, and play fully.
Fully.
Okay. Guys, well, you heard it from, well, here's my oracle because he taught me. And he taught me quite a lot. So if I'm doing good, it's on him. If I'm doing bad, it's on him.
Thank you, Julia. Julia, you're a great person. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. So are you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So are you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And guys, go out there. Remember to work on your single minded proposition. All of us have a single minded proposition
And the voice
because,
bank, the voicebank.online is my
yeah,
website.
I
If you want
did share that, but
okay,
let's
awesome.
put that again. Yeah, the
Okay.
voice bank dot online. That's where you can find Jimmy
My
Banks.
contact information, you can listen to
Yeah,
samples of my work and
yeah,
just have fun. Read my
yes.
approach and know how we do this so that you can understand that we just don't pull it from the air like a magician.
So thank you very much. Thank you everyone who joined us and stayed on. Thank you to everyone who will listen later. And Jimmy Banks, thanks for waking up earlier. I hope well, you don't do coffee anymore, so hey, to you,
Hey,
my friend.
I appreciate water.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye now. You have to take me off because I don't even know what I'm doing on this iPad here. Just take me
I'll
off.
do that. I'll do that. I'll do that.